Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. And today we're doing something a little bit different. We're doing a refresh on some beginners tips and tricks, and we're just going to go over some of the most useful and important things in the game as a new player that's level 10 or under. And yeah, so why don't we go ahead and get into it. First thing I want to cover is the market. Now you unlock the market at, I believe, level 8, and at that point you should have some resources and you should be able to craft lower level stuff like white items, maybe even blue. And that's what I suggest you do, is once you unlock the market, start saving up your resources and crafting items that you can sell on the market. Now you can pay attention to the market and play it and get the most out of it. I'm not the best at that, but there's ways to do it. And one tip I could give you is just look through the blues. So if we go to crafting and we go over here, you can look through the blues and you can right click or hit Y, depending on what platform you're on, or triangle. And you could see the price of the item and what it's going for and what people are selling it for. And you could do that for every single item, and you can kind of just go through and see what the most expensive item is at the moment that you are trying to craft. And I suggest just going ahead and going through all of them, and you can just check them. And whichever one you find that's the most expensive at the time, you can craft that and you can sell it on the market. Now keep in mind, you will need other resources besides just scrap, copper, electronics, batteries. Like, you're gonna need, more times than none, you're gonna need other things. Like this one, fuel tank, for example, that's usually sells for a nice little chunk. But you'll need a fuel barrel, which is the white version of it, and you'll also need the Docker cabin along with the resources. Now, if you're not into crafting, or you find it to be too time consuming and you don't want to have to wait around to sell stuff, then the other thing you can do is you can sell the resources themselves. Farming gas or fuel is a good way to make some money. It's not worth a lot, but it adds up over time. But as you see here, you have resources, and I'll show you an example. So I always save up my scrap and all this stuff, and I'll sell it when I hit 1,000 on it. Or for example, the electronics, they sell in tens and hundreds, so I'll save up like 100 and then I'll sell them. But simply what you can do, if you want to do this fast and easy and still make a nice little chunk of gold, you can go over here, say you got 1,000 scrap you can sell. You just hit this little down arrow, select 1,000, and it'll pop up the prices for a stack of 1,000. So right now they're going for 47 gold, give or take, for 1,000. So what you do is you find the price that you want to sell it for on the right side. And what I always do is I'll just type in a whole number generally and hit sell. There you go. You got 42 gold off the jump. So that's what I like to do. You don't have to do it that way. You can play the market like I said, but I mean, I'm not very good at that. But another thing too, moving on from the whole market aspect, because that is pretty much covered at this point. So you see here we have something called engineer badges, and you'll get these by doing daily and weekly challenges. Or not daily challenges, sorry, weekly challenges. As you see here, get a whole bunch of badges for doing different things, for beating raids, for winning clan wars, which, I mean, if you're new, you probably won't be in a clan anyway. Brawls, invasion, just doing regular matches for batteries and scrap and all things like that. Easy raids, scrap metal as you see there. Anyways, you get badges for all these things that you complete. Some of them have stacked tiers, some of them don't. Once you get enough badges, what I suggest you do is you come over here and you could spend your badges on resources if you really wanted to, or you could save up 3,000 and get a Pathfinder's crate, which guarantees you one of these items. You don't get to select them, it's totally random, so keep that in mind. And the same thing for the Wanderer's container, just blue items instead of purple. But what I suggest you do is below this, there's a whole list of parts from previous battle passes. And for 300 units of badges, you can get any of these armor pieces. And it says right next to them how many you can get. So like, for example, this one right here, I already have 2 out of 4 pieces that I'm able to get. But every single piece is only 300 badges, and you'll rack up badges pretty quick. Especially if you invest in the battle pass, you do all your weekly challenges every week, things like that. And there's some really good armor in here, anything from light all the way up to heavy. So I suggest you do this. Use all your badges for, I don't know, up to like level 15 or 20. Use all your badges to get yourself some nice armor parts and bumpers and things that are going to help your build be more durable. Because as you probably know as a new player, you don't really have a whole lot to start out with, and even after leveling up engineers, you don't really have a whole lot of good armor to make use of. And like I said, it just, you know, they got armor on here from light all the way up to heavy, more so heavy and medium. But depending on what you're going for, you can pick and choose which armor pieces and how many of them you would like to get at a time. So that's really nice. And as you can see, the list is quite extensive. So I highly suggest you guys spend a good amount of your badges on the armor pieces. So the next thing I want to go over is flags for your factions. So if we come over here, we can look at Steppenwolves, which is a more advanced faction. You need to finish... let me see what it's called. You need to level up Scavengers to level 10 to get Steppenwolves. But this is just an example. So you go to one of the factions, and you click on either blue or purple, and you'll have a flag that you'll have available that gives you extra XP. And this flag, for example, it's a light blue or teal color. It'll give you 40% plus 10% to your team, adding a total of 50% for yourself. So this gives you 50% extra XP for 1 day and 4 hours. And what you do is you just take a flag and you can mount it anywhere on your vehicle. It doesn't matter. I'll show you if I have one. Let me see here. Okay, I do have a flag. Actually, I have 3 of them. So you click on it once, click use, that activates it, then you click on it again, and you can turn it around. You can mount it wherever you want. You can mount it anywhere on your vehicle. Now, if the flag gets blown off in battle or you die, it doesn't matter. You'll still get your XP bonus. It doesn't not give it to you just because you die or the flag gets knocked off your car. It doesn't really matter. So no worries there. You'll still get your extra XP. So that's always good. And cosmetic items will also give you extra XP. So things like the hologram projectors, for example, or these tailpipes, things that are cosmetic, spike tire, chimney pipe. They give you a set amount of XP, and each rarity that you go up gives you, I believe, 1% extra XP. So for purple, you're getting 4 extra XP, and then for light blue, you're getting 3, and for blue, 2%, and it goes all the way up to, I believe, legendary. So you can also stack your vehicle with a few of the cosmetic items and get up to an additional 20% XP plus whatever your flag is, and those stack. So then you'll get, you know, X amount of extra XP after battle. Another thing I'll mention is, as a new player, you might forget to do this a lot and find it frustrating. Don't forget to save your blueprints. If you build a vehicle and you like it and you find it useful, blah, 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 and you want to make another build, but you don't want to get rid of that one. So the build, you want to go over and go to blueprints, click on one of your free slots. So for example, there's this one. You would click it, you can name it if you want, and then click save, and it will save to that slot. Now, these aren't permanent, so, or they're permanent as long as you don't overwrite them, but you can overwrite them. So for example, this one right here, I already have a blueprint saved here. Now, if you click on that and click this icon, the little floppy disk with the recycle button, you click that and you can name it and then save it. Now, whatever vehicle you have out at that time will save into this slot. So you need to be wary of that too. I do it sometimes myself too. I accidentally save over a blueprint that I didn't want to get rid of, but be careful of that because you might do it. And then the trash bin icon next to it, that simply just deletes the blueprint and leaves it as a completely open slot. You can also upload your blueprints to exhibition. So if you find a build that you really like, that you made, and you feel like maybe other people would enjoy playing with it, you can click on a blueprint. So we'll say this one, for example, and then you can go to exhibition. You can name the blueprint. You can choose who you want to upload it to, you know, certain friends, or if you want to add tags. Tags are just like, you know, hey, this build is an art build. It looks good, may not be super functional, but it looks good. Or something like this build is close combat, so like maybe for like a melee build, durable, you know, high HP, fast, generators, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of tags here that you can choose, and I think you can choose up to 3. And then you just click publish, and it'll be on your exhibition, which is this thing here. You can click on owned and see all the ones that you have uploaded. So here you can see all my uploads, and you can see how many people downloaded it, how many people liked it, you know, things like that. And then in this one here at the top, it'll show you your most popular builds that people have liked and downloaded. And below that, most downloaded overall. So yeah, pretty cool little feature. Super handy. You can also search for cars on here by part or by name or by author. I mean, all kinds of stuff. So you can go here and, like, for example, type in I don't know, Astrius. You know, you want to find Astrius build, you click that, and then it'll show up with all builds with an Astrius on it. So that's super useful if you're not really sure how to build a certain way, or you just want to find something interesting to play with, maybe something cool, maybe something super functional, maybe something better than what you already have, whatever. So that pretty much covers all of that. One other tip, the last tip I'm going to give beginners, super critical in my opinion, and something I always recommend to new players that are not capped out at the highest level yet. Play Awakening Adventure. The adventure mode is just a jank story mode, but you get a lot of XP throughout it, and you get a lot of resources throughout it as well. I always highly recommend that new players go and finish playing through this. There's 2 parts. There's one part, and then there's a second part that you can start kind of like halfway through the story. Do it all. Do all the story missions. They all give you decent XP, especially if you're running like flags on your car. You can get that extra XP. So it's kind of extensive. It's a longer thing to do, and you do need to be a certain power score. At a certain point, you'll get to where it'll be like you need to be 4,000 power score to play this mission or whatever. And that's fine. You can back out of it at that point if you're not high enough, or you feel like your build isn't doing good enough. You back out of that, go level up a little bit by playing multiplayer or raids, and come back to it at a later date. But it's a super functional, super effective way to level up and level up quite fast. And like I said, you also get a decent amount of resources with it too. It's only scrap and copper, but it's scrap and copper that you can use to craft or sell on the market. So yeah, and it's totally separate. You can co-op it with friends if you want, but it's totally separate from multiplayer and raids and all that stuff. It's its own server, so you can go into that, play with up to 3 of your friends, and bang out some missions, and you can all get really good XP. And another thing is too, you can play it through on every person can play it through on their own story with friends playing with them. So if you're playing on your story and your friends are playing with you, it's not going to count towards their story completion. They'll still get rewarded for it, but it won't count towards their completion. So only the host will be counted as the completion for the story. Hopefully you guys got all that. But yeah, anyways, I think that's pretty much all the beginner tips that I can give you guys for today. This is the 2023 version of this, and hopefully it helped you guys out. If it did, don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked the video, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. But otherwise, this is Anubis Tech and Games, and I'll catch you on the next one.